But you dress like that every single day.
Oh, God. Yeah, I do.
Alright, well now we can bring up our next comic.
Yeah, so this next guy, he is a friend of the Big Ugly Show. By that, we mean he's been on it once before. He's a very funny guy, very sweet guy. Guys, give it up for Ryan Ellington!
Yeah, guys, what's going on? I went on a date with this girl recently. During the date, she said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm gender fluid." I was like, "Okay, what does that mean? What's gender fluid?" She was like, "I don't identify as one gender. Sometimes I feel like a woman, and other times I feel like a man." I was like, "Sometimes you feel like a man? What is that like?" Because personally, I've never felt that. Is it like a warm feeling? What is it specifically? It's very important that I know. Things got really serious after the date though, right? Because we went to the parking lot to get to my car, and this guy actually tried to rob us. He pulled a knife on us. So I turned to my date, I was like, "Now's your time to shine." I think it's pretty obvious you have to take care of this one. This is on you. My roommate and I, we helped our downstairs neighbor move. We helped her move for like 3 hours, and then we took a break to eat some pizza. And when we were taking this pizza break, she says, "Hey, did I ever tell you why I broke up with my first husband? Why he's my ex-husband?" I'm like, "No, that sounds devastating for you, but interesting for us. What's going on there? Please elaborate." She's like, "Well, let me tell you this. He had an addiction, and that addiction bankrupted our marriage. Can you guess what that addiction was?" I was like, "I don't know. Was he addicted to gambling? Is that what happened?" She was like, "No." Or I was like, "Well, was he an alcoholic? Did he spend all your money on booze?" "No." She goes, "He was addicted to masturbating."
No.
Yeah, that was my reaction too. This guy somehow jerked off so much he bankrupted his entire marriage, guys. I don't want to sound crass, but I've been masturbating my entire life. It is not an expensive hobby. It's really not. I've spent $0 lifetime. I'm not going to ask this guy how he did it, but somebody should, because it's kind of impressive. He really crunched the number. All the porn's free, that's all I'm saying. My dad is a wonderful African-American man. He's a black man. Surprised? I don't know. I don't think it's particularly interesting, but it is important for the context of the next joke. I know it contradicts with my face. That's why I'm telling you. Let you guys into my world a little bit. But he recently moved to South Carolina. He got a lot of paperwork switched over to reflect this residency change. One of the pieces of paperwork was a South Carolina state license, right? He gives it back and mistakenly listed his race as Caucasian. I was like, "Dad, are you gonna get this fixed?" He was like, "I think I'm gonna let it slide." It might be nice having a license that says I'm white sometimes. I can imagine that being useful. I'm just tickled at the thought of him getting pulled over, right? And the police officer's looking at his license, looking back at him, just like, "This goes against all my instincts, but I think we gotta let you go." This has never happened to me before, but enjoy your day, Mr. Ellington. He must be Sicilian or something. I don't know what's going on. Must be a very tan Italian man. This is not in the handbook. That's great. He tells me a lot of wacky things. Like, it was almost my birthday one time. I was about to turn 21. My dad comes to me. He's like, "Ryan, just so you know, there's a family tradition when you turn 21, me and all your uncles were going to gather around, and we're going to take you to the strip club." And I was like, "Don't do that, obviously." You've known me for 20 years. You know I would not be comfortable with that. Because here's the thing, like as a man, as a boy, I spent most of my middle school and high school experience just trying not to get a boner in public, right? And then my dad's like, "Wouldn't it be cool if we went and got hard as a family? Wouldn't it be cool if we got boners together?" Sit next to your Uncle Johnny and watch a girl named Cinnamon put herself through law school. That's what we're doing tonight. Can we just go golfing though? That's a normal family activity. I don't know what's going on. I think everybody knows the childhood game Truth or Dare, right? Whenever they portray Truth or Dare in TV and movies, they make it seem like Dare is the really dramatic option. They're like, "Ooh, you're choosing Dare." I don't think that's the case at all. I think Truth is much more dramatic in that scenario, right? Because like, you're not going to remember the time your friend Jim ran around his house in his underwear, but you are going to remember that Jim's mom is an alcoholic. You remember that every time you see Jim's mom. You're like, "Jim's mom, it's your week for the carpool. Are we getting to school today?" I'm afraid for my life. What's going on? I think that's why you have to stop playing Truth or Dare when you become an adult. Because imagine adults playing like, "Hey man, what's it going to be? Truth or Dare?"
Dare.
I'll play it safe. Give me a truth.
Dare.
All right. Why'd your wife leave you? I don't think we should play this game anymore. Not comfortable divulging that information. That joke shows how young I am, because every time I tell it in front of older people, I'm just like, isn't divorce funny? And they're like, it wasn't funny when she took the kids. It was not. I don't know why you're bringing it up at this comedy show. I used to work at this residential building. I worked at the front desk, and on a lot of my shifts I worked with this older guy, right? And also in this building, a lot of young people lived there, a lot of young women lived in this building. Whenever they would walk through the lobby, and we did this thing that I didn't like, he would turn to me and be like, oh, Ryan, if I was your age, I'd be getting so much tail working at this place. Yeah, I was always like, gross. I don't think it's the age that's your problem. I think it's the fact that you call it getting tail. That's very creepy. I don't like that, and I don't think they enjoy it either, so please stop saying that. That's like a theme in my life, though, is older men coming up to me and just being gross. Like, Ryan, if I was your age, I'd be having so much sex with so many younger ladies. Am I right, buddy? Put it up top. Like, why are they always saying that? How come they're always using my youth for sex, right? How come there's never a guy that's like, Ryan, if I was your age, I would spend more time with my mother before she passed. I didn't know she only had a few weeks left. I would have cherished that time. We have this room at work. It's called the pregnancy room. It's where pregnant women can go to get privacy. I think it's good that we have that room. But recently, one thing happened. A coworker, she actually got caught having sex in the pregnancy room. Yeah, she got fired for this. I just thought it was messed up that she got fired for using the pregnancy room just a little too early. Like, Donna, what are you doing? This is the pregnancy room. She's like, I know. I want maternity leave. I know what I'm doing. I think maternity leave is good. I don't think men need an equivalent. Some gross dudes say that sometimes. I do think it'd be nice though if men got one extra day off for pregnancy scare leave. If you're going into work at 8 in the morning, you get a text from your girlfriend like, hey, I don't want to alarm you, but I missed my period. I might be pregnant. You're not going to have a productive day at work. You got to go home and get your shit together. I think we should have a pregnancy scare room at work too, next to the pregnancy room. You just go in there and you get beer and buffalo wings and they play NFL highlights. It's Buffalo Wild Wings. That's the pregnancy scare room. That's what I want at work. Does everybody know the show Chopped on the Food Network? I love all the Food Network shows. I love Chopped. If you don't know what Chopped is, it's a cooking competition show. A couple chefs compete for like $10,000. And the judges, they always ask them what they do if they won the money. And the people on Chopped, they usually say something normal, like I'd take my family on vacation or I'd open up a food truck. My favorite episode of Chopped I ever saw, though, they asked Layla, like, what would you do if you won the money? And she's like, if I win the $10,000, I'm gonna hire a private investigator to find my son. What are you doing on Chopped? Your son is out there, you're cooking a souffle. Go find your son. They can't help, Guy Fieri can't help you find your son. Get off the Food Network. I used to work at McDonald's. That was my first job. In high school, I worked the front counter at McDonald's. I was working one day. This guy came in, older guy by himself. He orders 2 Happy Meals. I saw him the Happy Meals. It's my job. I think that's going to be the end of the interaction. But it wasn't, because my coworker turns to me. She's like, hey, did you just sell that guy 2 Happy Meals? I was like, yeah. She's like, did he have a kid with him? He's like, no. She's like, you shouldn't have done that. He could have been a pedophile. And I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was my job to decide who might be a pedophile. That wasn't in the training videos. Also, I'm 16. I'm still afraid of pedophiles. What's going on? If that's part of my job description, to decide that, I don't think Rusty, our janitor, should work here anymore. I don't like the vibes he's giving off. At the very least, he should not clean the place. I think that's a fair compromise. I know what happened on that one. I lost you guys a little bit.
Nope, loved it.
Thank you. Very supportive. One person, that's what I do it for. My grandfather, he's sober, right, which I think is good. He used to be an alcoholic when he was younger. But I do miss my grandfather's drinking days based off this one story I heard about him. I heard my grandfather got so drunk once, he bought a monkey. Right? I know what you're thinking, like, how drunk do you have to get to buy a monkey? I think a better question is, how drunk do you have to get to hang out with people that are trying to sell you a monkey? That's not a one-day decision. They pitched him on the monkey. Eventually he broke down, and my poor grandmother had to deal with that situation. You can't bring a monkey back. Where do you bring a monkey? Is that a monkey? I don't know. My mom had an interesting childhood. I played football in high school. Oh, no one laughed. That's good. Sometimes people laugh at that part. I understand why, but it is hurtful. Polite audience. I play football. When you play football, they make you take this thing called the baseline concussion test, right? Like briefly, what it tests your mental abilities before the season. So if you get hit in the head during the season, right, you take it again, make sure your results are on par to make sure you don't have a concussion before you go back in the football game, right? But I thought that was a simple concept. Here's what happened to me with the concussion test, though. A linebacker on our team, star player, comes up to me. He's like, hey, here's what I want everyone to do on the concussion test. Just do really poorly, so if you do get a concussion, you can go right back into the game. Yeah. I looked at him, I was like, do you have a concussion right now? So that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm not going to do that, obviously. I'm not a perfect person, though. I wouldn't say that. I got pulled over recently. I blew through a crosswalk in Harvard Square. I wasn't paying enough attention. And the police officer, he comes to my car. He's like, hey, what you did was really stupid and dangerous, but I'm going to let you out with a warning. It's your lucky day. I was like, oh, you think I'm lucky? You should see the people in the crosswalk. I almost killed them. I almost killed them with this white Prius that I'm driving. I was driving my roommate's Prius at the time. Obviously, I'm glad I didn't hit anybody, but I feel like if you get hit with a Prius, you're going to be fine, right? You're not going to get injured. You're just going to get up, brush yourself off, and go, I should recycle from now on. It's going to make you a better person. I was at Downtown Crossing a while back, and these guys were yelling about Martin Luther King Jr. I don't know if anyone's seen these guys, but they were trying to discredit him, and what they kept yelling was, Martin Luther King Jr. used to have orgies with white women. And when I heard this, I couldn't help but think, that's pretty cool, right? It's pretty sick, obviously. Martin found the time to sleep with all these white women in between the marches. He had great multitasking ability, incredible stamina, and those are just some of the many things that I admire about Martin Luther King Jr. Definitely lower on the list, but I do admire them. Now, they were saying this to discredit Martin because he cheated on his wife Coretta with these white women, which is awful. There's no question about that cheating's so bad. But here's a question that no one's asking. How many of these white women were racist before they had sex with Martin Luther King Jr.? And then not racist after they had sex with Martin Luther King Jr.? Because I gotta imagine for most people his words were enough to change their minds. But I think some people probably saw the speech and they were like, I'm gonna need a little bit more from Martin on this one. Just a little, like 6 inches more.
10.
10? Has your grandmother fucked Martin Luther King Jr.? That's what I do this for. It's just research. I need to know. Serious, if any of your grandmothers had sex with Martin, please talk to me after the show. I need to know. I think some people probably use the fact that they slept with Martin to prove how not racist they were in a weird way, right? Like, oh, I'm racist? I had sex with Martin Luther King Jr. Have you heard of him? May 11th is my MLK Day, because I said I fucked Martin Luther King Jr. Lukewarm response, but it's my favorite thing to say in comedy, so you can't stop me. I'll leave you guys with one more thing. I like hip-hop music. Does anybody else like rap music?
Yeah.
Yeah, I say that sometimes and nobody claps, and it scares me. I'm like, is this a Republican convention? What's going on? I get very worried. I feel out of place. I love hip-hop. One thing I don't like so much about hip-hop is it can be very misogynistic at times. I don't like that. Like, I heard this one rap song the other day where the rapper was like, hey girl, bust it open for me. I have no idea what that means. I know it's offensive. Like, if someone said that to my sister, I would have to fight them. And I'm gonna lose that fight, so it's just a bad day all around. But when I heard that, when I heard "Hey girl, bust it open for me," I couldn't help but think, oh man, how she's busted it open because she feels empowered by it. Not because her socioeconomic status is put in a position where she needs the money. She feels like this is the only way she can earn it. Yeah, my mom wrote that joke, everybody. She said if I stopped telling you, she'd stop sending me money, so I tell her every single time. I don't know, health insurance. All right, thank you, I gotta
We're gonna keep the show going. We're gonna bring up our